back, everyone, to the late night review. And tonight I want to talk about a movie that I always liked, a movie that I do have nostalgia for, a movie that, when it came out, I was so pumped to see it. I saw previews of it, I saw commercials of it, and I really couldn't wait because it's with Jean Claude Van Damme, and he was always one of my favorites. When I saw Bloodsport, after that, I just started looking, gee, what else was this guy in? I just started looking for other movies that he was in. And I found multiple movies: Black Eagle, No Retreat, No Surrender, Cyborg. Those movies I have so much nostalgia for. I really like those a lot. And tonight, I like this movie quite a bit. It's Death Warrant with Jean Claude Van Damme. Now, this movie here, I like it. It's really, really good. Jean Claude Van Damme plays a character who goes into prison. He's going undercover to find out why so many prisoners are dying in this prison. And then later, and a lot of people, especially Van Damme fans, they've seen this movie. So almost all my reviews are spoiler reviews. So he goes in there to find out. He's an undercover detective, and he wants to find out why so many prisoners are dying at this prison. And eventually he uncovers that there's a human organ trafficking ring. It's a lucrative thing where they're trafficking human organs, and it's strange and gross, and it's kind of an interesting plot. But there's some good scenes in here, good action in here. I would say that as far as Jean-Claude Van Damme's early movies go, and this is one of his early movies, it's good, but to me, it's, in the interest of full disclosure, I like it, but it's not great like Bloodsport or Double Impact or Kickboxer and Cyborg. Cyborg, people can criticize it all they want, but it's interesting, it's fun, and it's a great movie to me. It's a very underrated sci-fi classic, and people can kind of nitpick different things, but that's pretty much all you could do with that movie because there's so much good about it. And I love the Mad Max Road Warrior trilogy that Mel Gibson was in. Those were all good movies. And then Thunderdome, those were all good. I like Cyborg better because it was a faster pace. There was more action, definitely more martial arts. There might not have been any in the other movie, in the Mad Max Road Warrior Thunderdome, except a little. There was fighting, definitely fighting in there, but Cyborg's a faster pace. I like the music, and there's some goofy parts, a little, a couple parts in Cyborg where you can say, oh, maybe that didn't need to be in there, like maybe a couple of the reactions, a couple of those screams or yells in the movie. But there's a lot more of that in the Mad Max series, a lot more kind of goofy behavior and people acting, strange. But those are all great movies, but I like Cyborg the best. I just wanted to throw that in there. And not only that, but Jean-Claude Van Damme, he's young. He does his jump spinning kick. He kicks that guy in the mouth, and when in the water, he's having that knife fight, and it's fun. It's not super realistic like a lot of martial arts movies, but it's fun. It's athletic. Anyway, Death Warrant, I wouldn't put it in the same category as a lot of other Jean-Claude Van Damme movies, and I'll tell you why. It's better than the movies he made later on in life. The movies that have come out in the last 5, 10, 15 years for sure. Death Warrant's a solid movie. It's a good movie. I wouldn't put it anywhere close to Bloodsport or Double Impact or Lionheart or some of the other films. And I'll tell you why. It's because the beginning is good. The ending is pretty good. There's a couple criticisms I have about the film. In the middle, it drags on. If Death Warrant's middle section had more fights, more exciting scenes, definitely maybe a few more fights. For sure, it needed a few more fights in the middle, no doubt about it. And then at the end, where he fights the Sandman, If the fight at the end was just a little better cinematically, it looked great. And then Jean Claude Van Damme jumping up, kicking the Sandman into the fire at the end, and being athletic and all that's great. But if it would have flowed a little more quicker, if it would have been a little bit more competitive, a little more fast pace, if it would have been a little bit more realistic, but mixed in with the cinematic stuff, it would have been a better fight, a better movie. So the beginning is good, pretty good action. You get the introduction of the characters. You get to find out uh, pretty much you get to find out what's going on, not with the human organ trafficking stuff, but you get to find out who your characters are for the most part. And then there's some good fight scenes at the beginning, one in the mess hall, and then another one when Van Damme is cleaning and he turns his mop into a staff. And that's really, really good. If there was a couple more fights, 2 or 3 more fights in the middle, and at the end, if Sandman and would have put up a little bit better of a fight. I mean, he does put up a fight, but I mean, if it would have been a little bit more quicker paced, a little bit better, I think you would have had one of the best Van Damme movies ever. If it would have been a little more faster pace in the middle, a few more fights, and at the end, if it would have been improved, it would have been a much better film. But still, I like it. I like this movie. I have a lot of nostalgia for it. I remember going to the theater and so being taken to the theater and seeing it. And then when it came out on video, it was great. It was really, really great to see it on video. I watched it. I enjoyed it. And it first came out and I was pumped. I was so happy to see it. Later on over the years, it's kind of gone down in my ranking, even though I didn't have a ranking. I never really I never ranked all his movies precisely and really gave it a lot of thought. But I've always liked Death Warrant. I think it's really, really a fine film, but it's not great like some of his others, like Bloodsport or Kickboxer, or I like Cyborg. A lot of people wouldn't say it's great, but I really like it. It's not slow, good action, interesting story, trying to find the cure for the plague, and whoever controls it will have more influence and power. And plus, in a martial arts action film, a lot of people don't watch these movies for a deep story that's thick meated and really, doesn't, that really is in depth or deep. But it helps when you have a good story for any movie. It helps whatever kind of movie you're watching. A lot of martial arts action fans don't put the story up here. They might put it down here a little bit, but the action, the the fighting, the shooting, the martial arts, they'll put way up here and the story a little down here. If you have a good story, it raises everything. I understand that. But the story is not bad at all in Cyborg. I actually think it's good. It's simple, and sometimes simple stories are the best. They make sense, even though it's not very deep. Look at Halloween. What a classic that was. To me, it's a great story. Why? Not because it was so deep and you had to watch it closely and try to figure things out. It was simple and it worked. Sometimes simple's the best. Anyway, that's a different genre, but it's a great movie. Halloween is one of my favorite horror movies of all time. But yeah, Death Warrant, I like it. I think it's a solid film. If you haven't seen it, and there's probably a lot of people who haven't, especially people who maybe haven't got into Jean Claude Van Damme or martial arts movies. And there's not a ton of martial arts in there. I think that's one of the things that's lacking. But the story's okay. It's pretty good. And it's a solid film. And if you haven't seen it, you're in for a treat. I like it. I recommend it. So check Death Warrant out with Jean Claude Van Damme. And please like and subscribe and share this video. When you subscribe, you should get a notification, just a notification on whatever device you're using that you use to subscribe with. You'll just get a notification that a new video has come out from my channel. So like and subscribe, share this video, and have a good night, everybody. This has been the Late Night Review.